Bonjour. Ça va?
Ça va bien.
I don't like this. It's my way. C'est bon? Oui? Oui? Okay, my name is Philippe Benjamin, and I am, as you can tell, I'm French. And I have some things on my heart that I want to share with you. And I would just like to say, bollocks to Brexit. Yes, thank you. I wasn't sure what sort of reception I would get for that. I would also like to say, fuck your exit from the European Union. I'm still here, you fuckers, I'm still here. Okay, and now, for your entertainment, I will sing a song for you in my best Yorkshire accent. Okay, are you ready? The minute you walked in the joint, I could see you were a man of distinction, a real big spender, good-looking, so refined. Say, wouldn't you like to know what's going on in my mind? Oh, sorry. I've got a bit of a frog in my throat. Oh, sorry, that's racist, isn't it? You're not supposed to call Frenchmen frogs, are you? Even if you are giving them a blowjob. Now, I actually am from Birmingham, which isn't funny because it's a really shit accent. But I've lived in this part of the world for a very long time and I love it. I absolutely love this part of the world. I've been here for about 30 years. I actually bought my second car in Saltaire, yeah, which was a Volkswagen Estate, a really cool car. It was like, I was in my early 20s, it was like my festival car, you know. Also known as a Volkswagen Squareback or a VW variant, really cool car. My first car was a Morris Marina van. I prefer vans and estates because they're really useful for kidnapping people, especially Frenchmen. Okay, so I'll tell you a little bit more about the VW Squareback. Really cool car, early 20s, world's my oyster. And then this advert comes on the TV, and it's my car, identical car, same colour, and it's two beautiful girls in my car, exactly the same, driving through the desert. And you can see they're getting a little bit hot, and you know, they're winding the windows down, trying to cool off, and then they see one of those big watering stations at the side of a railway line, and there's this big muscly-looking guy all glistening with sweat. And they pull up alongside and he gets them some water, and it just so happens to have some heavy cutting equipment, and he cuts the roof off the car. Sacrilege to do this to this car. It's a beautiful classic car. Cut the roof off the car, and then the music starts. I don't know if any of you remember the advert. Trust body form. Yeah, it was an advert for slimline panty towels. Now I know this is a delicate subject, but this is a true story, and it was my car. Now mine still had the roof on, so this means that I was driving around in a Dr. White. Now for those of you that don't know what a Dr. White is, let me help you out. So I grew up in a mainly female household. In fact, it was an all-female household. There's me, my mum and my sister, and there was my sister's mates and my mum's mates. So I was surrounded by females, and but I was still oblivious to quite a lot of what was going on. And I found this big packet this really big packet in the bathroom cupboard, and I took one of these Dr. Whites out and used it as a mattress for my Action Man. There you go. So that, for those of you who weren't sure what Dr. White is now, I think that's all been made very clear. The miracle of body form, yeah, the miracle of body form also completely destroyed my credibility. I just wanted to point that out. And I was a very inventive little boy. I also used to get the Lillettes and hang them off the back of a chair and use that as a punch bag for my Action Man. So there you go. Now, that car actually accompanied me back in my early 20s when I first had a go at stand-up comedy. I entered the BBC open mic competition, and I sent them a cassette tape. There's another thing that I have to explain to a few people in the room. Now, a cassette tape was a little plastic box, about the same size as your average mobile phone, with literally a tape inside it, and it would hold about one album's worth of music. Yeah? Okay. Not funny, but possibly interesting. I put one of these in the post, I sent it to the BBC, and they got me a couple of gigs. Now, my first gig was at a place called the Java, which was opposite the Stage Door of the Alhambra. I think it was previously called the Stage Door. That was my first gig, and the headline act that night was Ross Noble. Anyone might have heard of Ross Noble. Yeah, he wasn't known at the time, and it was a great gig. It was brilliant. I did okay. I didn't bomb, and I thought, yeah, right. So then the next gig that they got me was the actual competition. So this took place at the Harvey Milk Bar at Leeds University, and the judge used to sat out in the audience. Bearing in mind that I was the qualifying act for West Yorkshire, you know. So I'm thinking I've made it, and at the time I was on the juggling scene. And in fact, I used to work in the juggling shop at the bottom of Victoria Road. Anyone remember that? You're not really all from round here, are you? Is there anybody actually from Saltaire, Shipley area? Yeah, so do you remember the juggling shop at the bottom of Victoria Road? Yeah, you never went in, because if you'd gone in there, you'd have come out a juggler, because I would have bullied you into learning to juggle and sold you a set of juggling balls. That's what I was doing every Saturday. So I was on the juggling scene, and I invited all my mates from the juggling scene to come along and see this gig at the Harvey Milk Bar at Leeds. And amazingly, every single one of them turned up. I mean, everyone en masse. And they're all going, all right, Phil. I'm thinking, I was completely blown away. And then I found out that the headline act was none other than Bill Bailey. Yeah. Yeah, they hadn't come to see me at all, had they? They'd come to see Bill Bailey. They were all very polite about it. And I got distracted then, and I actually became a street entertainer, and I put a double act together with a mate of mine. We called ourselves Dazzle and Flip. His name Darryl, my name Philip. So Flip, my mum's from Northern Ireland, so she would often call me Flip. That was and Dazzle for Darryl. Dazzle and Flip, great name. And we travelled Europe for an entire summer holiday, street entertaining, or as we like to call it, recreational homelessness, ladies and gentlemen. And now, when I got home from doing that, let's say I was a bit on my arse. That's a good expression. I think it's an expression they use in Scotland, isn't it? I was on my arse, you know. Completely skint, and no job, and really. And then I actually met a couple of French Christians, and they invited me along to church, and it was a free meal. And so I thought, well, I made the most of the free meal, got a bit of dope and got stoned before I went there, so I'd got the munchies. Me thinking, I'm going to tell these feckers there's no such thing as God. 3 weeks in, and I'd given my heart to Jesus. And I tell you what, I've got to say, 18 years of that really did turn my life around, and it got me back into society. I met my wife at church, and I've had 2 beautiful sons. One of my sons is sat at the back of the room. Say hello to Ellis, don't embarrass him. And so I'm very grateful to that period in my life. But I have to say, I studied the Bible, and it is definitely a load of bollocks. Sorry, it is. It's a load of bollocks. But the people are fucking amazing. They're lovely people. They're genuine. They cared for me. They got me back on my feet. And one of them's here tonight. So a little round of applause for Helen, who's trying to hold it. So I did warn you that I might work it into my act. Well, this has turned into a really sweet evening of conversation with Phil Benjamin. Yes, I should point out, some of you know me as Phil Wilson. My full name is Philip Benjamin Wilson. I like the name, but I like the name Phil Benjamin because my very first love as a little boy watching Play School was Floella Benjamin. Oh, I adored Floella Benjamin, and that was my middle name. So I thought, yeah, I'll have that name. When I did my very first routine, Ross Noble was the headline act. There was a moment where there was a hushed silence when I said, "Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, my name's Phil Benjamin. You might know my sister, Floella." Yeah, that's exactly the reaction that I got that night as well. Exactly the reaction. But I still think it's funny, and I think we should laugh. But I'm not going to go on about that sort of thing. I'm not on a crusade to put the world to rights. So with Floella, my relationship with Floella was completely, although I did absolutely adore her, and I still do, my relationship with her was what you might call platonic. As I progressed, as I became an older man, my relationship with TV presenters changed a little bit. Shall we say, Michaela Strachan on a Friday night when I'd been unsuccessful? Yeah, I mean, there was that dickhead stood next to her, so it was a challenging wank, but I still went for it. I'll tell you. And Floella, not Floella, I already mentioned Floella Benjamin, Fiona Bruce. Fiona Bruce, eh? I've always had a bit of a thing for Fiona Bruce. I tell you what though, I never thought I'd find myself wanking to Antiques Roadshow and Question Time. Fucking hell, Question Time, talk about a challenging evening in by yourself. So, anyway, back to my kids. So yeah, a couple of occasions when I wasn't wanking. I just thought of that. It wasn't funny. I won't use it again. Okay. So yeah, I split up with their mum. Apparently, becoming a born-again atheist is kind of infidelity of sorts. Anyway, I won't go into that. I spent a wonderful 14 years with them. As I said, we've got two beautiful sons. And our separation was, for both of us, a joyous occasion. So you don't need to feel sorry for us. I'm not here to to evangelise divorce, but fucking hell, it works for us. Okay, but if you're in a happy marriage, don't let me encourage you away from that. I think that's a great thing, and I applaud you for that. Now, as a weekend dad, I take this job very, very seriously. And as you can see now that my eldest son's old enough to come to my gigs, he's here. And he'll be in church on Sunday. How about that? Sure is it. How about that for a combat? What a really balanced way to bring a child up. Take him to hear his dirty fecker of a dad swearing at strangers, and then church on Sunday. Fantastic. I won't be at church on Sunday. So the first big trip that we went on, I thought I'll take them to the zoo. As I said before, I actually grew up in the Midlands, although I was born in West Yorkshire, and I've always had connections with West Yorkshire, and I'm very proud of that. But I did grow up in the West Midlands. Now, they did a survey on accents, and actually, the three accents that they looked at was the Liverpudlian accent, which is a great accent, but in the survey, they said that Liverpudlians were not trustworthy. Now, I'll leave that to your own imaginations. I'm not going to have a go at Liverpudlians. I think they're great. I'm a big fan of the Beatles, and I thought they were pretty trustworthy. Now, the other accent they looked at was actually the Yorkshire accent, which they said the exact opposite of. They said it was the most trustworthy accent. And then the sort of control accent that they looked at was the Birmingham accent. And what they said about the Birmingham accent was, they sound thick. Yes. But it's all changed, hasn't it? It's all changed. Because now we've got the Peaky Blinders, haven't we? Eh? You're all a bit nervous now, aren't you? Because we're the Peaky Blinders. And this is our territory now. And actually, when you do a menacing Birmingham accent, it's quite sexy as well, isn't it? You noticed that? Yeah, I know. Speak to me later. Okay. Right, so I thought I'd take my kids to a zoo in the Midlands, so I'll go visit my mum at the same time. So we went to Twycross Zoo. Oh, what a fantastic zoo. It really is fantastic, I highly recommend it. Now, I've been to Flamingo Land, and yeah, it's got a nice fun fair and a few animals that look like, they've been sort of neglected for the fun fair. But Twycross Zoo is a proper wildlife sanctuary, and they've got a wonderful monkey house, and that's actually part of the entrance into Twycross Zoo. You go into the monkey house, And now I fancy myself as a bit of a Dr. Dolittle and also think that I'm a natural entertainer. So I'm entertaining my boys by chatting away to a little spider monkey. And he's chatting back and going, look at that, boys, he's chatting to them. Hello mate, how you doing? Are you alright? And then I notice a few other people have spotted me doing this and I'm getting some laughter. I'm thinking, this is brilliant. I am a natural entertainer. And then I realise that his mate is up there pissing down my back. I kid you not, it's a true story. So I had to say to the boys, look, oh by the way, what I forgot to mention was that it was actually, and this might have motivated us going to Twycross Zoo as well. Michaela Strachan was doing her really wild road show. Yes, I know. Yes, anyway, so I said to the boys, look, I'm going to have to go and get cleaned up. You go and find the Michaela Strachan Road show and just get yourself sat down the front and I'll get back as quickly as I can. So when I got back, my son, who's here with us this evening, was on stage with Michaela Strachan. Yeah. Now can you imagine how weird that was for me? So his little brother's saying, yeah, she asked for a volunteer. Ellis put his hand up and she chose him. I was like, yeah, that's fantastic. Well, I mean, there was a little bit of me that thought, oh, brilliant. Now I can properly stalk her without looking too weird. So, but yeah, it was a strange experience seeing my son on stage with someone that I wanked over in the 90s. But, you know, yeah, that's getting a bit awkward now. I might obviously need to work on that bit. Anyway, well, believe it or not, Michaela Strachan's Really Wild Roadshow was not the highlight of the day. No, the highlight of the day was a Wumbi, the lowland silverback gorilla. Oh, what a magnificent beast. And there he is, sat in this, he's got a huge enclosure surrounded by glass. Now, I actually work with glass, so I know a little bit about this stuff. And a Wumbi is just sitting there doing nothing. And he's the star of the show. And he sat there literally doing nothing. So even though it says, please do not bang on the glass, I'm like, yeah, it'll be all right, don't be sorry. Bang, 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 bang on the glass. And a Wumbi looks round, and he looks straight at us, and he goes like that. And I said, boys, that is gorilla sign language. Do it back to him. So all three of us do it back to him like that. And he goes mad. He's bouncing, throwing things around his cage. He comes running right up to the glass. Just at that moment, the zookeeper arrives. He says, what's going on here? I said, well, the gorilla went like that. So we just did it back, that's all. That's all, honestly. He said, you can't do that to a gorilla. That means fuck off in gorilla language. So they just go into the bar, just rule breakers. Oh, okay. Okay, I'll speak to you like fucking... Anyway, so, you're going to miss the punchline. Can you hear the punchline from outside? Can you hear it? I'm nearly there. So, the zookeeper... Quite distracting that, but never mind. The zookeeper says, you can't do that to a gorilla, that's fuck off in gorilla language. And on the drive to my mum's, went to visit my mum, I'm thinking, I'm going to get that gorilla back. Anyway, we get to my mum's and she says, have you had a good day? I said, well, I got pissed on by a spider monkey and a gorilla told me and the boys to go away in sign language. She said, you go and have a bit of time by yourself. I thought, yeah, I'm going to have a bit of time by myself. I snuck into the kitchen. I took a pork sausage out of the fridge, put it down the front of my trousers. I went into the bathroom. I got a couple of those old-fashioned Wilkinson sword razor blades, put them in my pocket, and I went straight back to Twycross Zoo. I went straight back to a Wumbi's enclosure. Now, again, I know a bit about glass, and I found the gap in the glass. I flashed the razor blade to a Wumbi like this, and he comes over, and I pass the razor blade through the gap in the glass, and a Wumbi takes it off me, and I'm like, yeah, I've got him, right. So I take a little bit of hair
off the top of my head and neatly slice it off, and it floats to the ground, and a wombi does exactly the same. Exactly the same. Yes! A little bit of hair off the chin, a wombi does exactly the same. A little bit of hair off my chest, sliced it off, a wombi does exactly the same. Open up my trousers, take out a bit of pube, slice that off, a wombi does exactly the same. Flop out the pork sausage, slice it neatly in half, and a wombi goes like that. Okay, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. I'd just like to say before I hand the mic over to Dory, that right up until the point where I banged on the glass and a wombi looked round, it was all true. I did not try to trick a gorilla in a breeding programme into chopping his own dick off. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I've been Phil Benjamin.